Welcome to another episode here on your Digital Makeover. My name is Jerry Colbert, and in today's episode, we're going to show you how to create databases inside of Notion. And it's all coming up next. So in today's episode, I want to show you all how to create databases inside of Notion. So as you see here, I have opened up my Life operating system. And let's say, for instance, I want to create a new database for whatever it might be. So maybe I want to make a database for movies I'm interested in, right? And I just want to have a nice little database just to keep track of movies that I might see on TV or whatever that I might be interested in, checking out someday. So how do you create a database? Well, it's pretty simple actually. So what I typically like to do is I'll go ahead and open this up over to the side here, and let's go ahead and create a new page, okay? And let's call this movie list. Okay. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and open this up to full page. And as you see here, it's in the center. Now, that's very useful if it's like a center pop-up, but a lot of times I like my page to be left oriented. So what I typically do is I go up here to the three dots, and I'll just go ahead and put this to full width. Okay. Once I'm done that, I go ahead and go into here to the empty page, and I just click there. And what I'll do is I'll type the / which is right underneath the question mark key on the keypad. And this pulls up a nice little menu of items I can select. In this situation, I'm going to select a database, but I typically just type in table. Now, when you type in table, it gives you three options here: a basic block table, a database table, or an advanced block table of contents. Now I am wanting to create a database. So I could choose basic blocks, but that's not really a database. It's just like a, if you all ever use Excel or spreadsheets or whatever, it's just a simple table where you can just enter data. But I want to create a database that's going to remember things that I entered into it and can correlate those between cells and such. So I'm going to go down here and select table view. When you do that, it creates this new table view, and it has not selected any kind of database because I haven't really named a database yet. So why don't we go ahead and do that? So over here to the right, you see it says linked or create a database. Now you see how it's spinning right there? Now it's come up with a list of items I could go ahead and link this to. But I don't want to do that. I want to create a new database. So I'm going to type in movie list, right? And then I want to go ahead and hit new database movie list. So now it's created a database. Now, if you watched my other episode, you know I was talking about what's the difference between a linked database and a just a regular traditional database. Well, this is a traditional database, and how do I know? Well, obviously I just created it, but if you look here at the movie list, you don't see a little arrow here. If there's a little arrow there on over the top of the movie list, then that means it's a linked database. Okay. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So let's go over here to my Life operating system. Okay. And let's go ahead and we're going to go into today's agenda. And you see this little arrow that's right there on the action item. This is a linked database right here. And it says action items, and you see the little arrow there. So that means it's a linked database. It means that this is a different view of the database that's hidden elsewhere in the program, right? So if we go back to our movie list, we know this is a true database. Now, if you remember from my other episode, I was saying that once you create a database and you like the database the way it is, I'd move it to a secure location so you don't accidentally delete it. And then from there on, I would go ahead and use a link database on whatever page you're wanting to create that on, right? But in this situation, we're just going to continue on how to create a database. So I created this new database, and whenever you create one, it comes up with a name column and a tags column. 9 times out of 10, I delete the tags column because I don't typically need it. Yes. So why it's defaults with tags, I don't know. Why not have a default for source? Why not have it defaulted for, well, anyways, you get my point. I don't know why it defaults to tags. 9 times out of 10, I have no use for it. Or if I do wind up creating it, it's way later in the creation process when I happen to think, oh yeah, I do need a tags thing. Most of the time I delete it. So, but anyway, so it creates 3 rows as well. I don't know why either, because 9 times out of 10, I delete those out because I'm not ready to use them yet. So I get it out of there because I don't want to look at it. So now that you've created this is in a table view. And you know that by going over here to the 3 dots, and there's your layout table. Now I could choose board, timeline, gallery, list, calendar, but typically I like to create the table view first, create all of my properties first, and that's what these rows here are, is a property. A tags is a property. I like to create all of my rows and everything I want in a column or properties first, and then I might create different types of views such as gallery, list, whatever's appropriate for that database. So as you see here, I have like I say, the name and then tags. Now if I was to hit new, it'll open this up, and it's just the same view as this, just as a pop-up side view, right? And a lot of times I like creating what properties I want while opening up a new page, that's what this is, a new page inside of the database, in order so I can see it from top to bottom. I usually don't create my properties from left to right. I usually create them top to bottom and then reorganize them on the table as I see fit. So once I open this, I know this is a movie list. So what I want to do with this, well, name is good. I'm pleasantly happy with that that title. Now you could just write. You see, I just clicked on that, and I could just change that to title since this is a movie list. So maybe I want to create it as the name of a title, or you could have just left it as name. Tags, like I say, I typically get rid of unless I do need it later on, so we'll get rid of that at the moment. So you see it has nothing over here. And so I might want to create a new property. So you just hit the add a property, and you go down here and select whatever it is you want. Now if you notice that tags was a select drop down menu. Well, maybe I want to create a multi-select where I can select multiple options. Or maybe I want to create a status. So if I create a status, it comes up with this: not started, in progress, or done. Maybe I'm creating my movie list where I want these are the movies I'm interested in watching. So I want to create this movie list, and I put in the titles, right? And then I might want to mark it as not started or not watched yet, or maybe I want to say that it's now in progress. I'm fixing to go watch it. And then maybe I want to select as done. I've completed watching the movie, and maybe I want to have that out of that list. Maybe I want to have this as just the movies I'm interested in, and anything that I've already completed, I can now filter it and move it off the page, right? So maybe I want to do that. So I'll create a status. A lot of times I'll put the status at the beginning, and then I add the title. So like for instance, let's say I want to watch Star Wars. All right. Well, I haven't started it yet, but I'm just listing my stuff, right? And I'll put another thing here. I want to watch Star Trek. As you can tell, I'm kind of a sci-fi guy. May I want to create a new one, and I want to say Battlestar Galactica. If I can spell. Alright. So I create my list of movies I want to watch, and then, you know, I'll wind up watching them and everything. And so I could go ahead and put it in progress. I'm watching that one. I could go and put it as done. And what the cool thing about you know, marking it as complete is if I created a filter, I could filter it out that is not complete. So therefore, whenever I mark something as done, it just disappears out of my list. See, that's pretty cool, ain't it? So these are some of the things you can do. I can also, like I say, put in a date. Maybe I want to watch it on a certain day. Maybe I'll say I'm going to watch Battlestar Galactica on the 13th. You can also hit this plus sign and select something else. Maybe you want to put a checkbox, and maybe that's how you mark it as done. Maybe you don't want to use the status. Maybe you just want to have a check mark to mark it as done, right? You have quite a few different things that you can create here utilizing this. Maybe you're watching it online. Maybe it's on maybe it's online and you want to watch it on Netflix, right? So you can go ahead and put the URL there. So then when the 13th rolls around and maybe you created yourself a calendar, you can go ahead and just click on that and it'll take you right to Netflix. And maybe you put the URL, the exact URL for that Netflix Battlestar Galactica right there. So you can just click on it and don't have to go to Netflix and then search for it and everything. Maybe you can put the exact URL for that show that's on Netflix right here. So you're not wasting yourself time, right? So these are some of the things that you can actually do with databases. Likewise, if you open this database up, you see there's the same properties that are listed here. You could write something down in here. Maybe you want to create yourself just a little checklist of what you want to do when you want to watch Battlestar. Maybe you want to say popcorn, whatever it might be. Of course, this is kind of simplistic. Obviously, you wouldn't need to remember to pop popcorn, although maybe you would. I don't know. But these are some of the things that you can do with databases. And remember, this line right here, this thing that opens up is a page in this database, and this database is on a page. So you have pages that can be nested with databases, that be nested with pages, that could be nested with more databases. It's pretty endless, to be honest with you. Also, a lot of times people like to add nice little cool icons. So, maybe you want to put an icon like movie, right? Maybe you want to add a cover to this page. Now, this is the page I'm doing it on, right? So you can maybe use the Unsplash and use type in movie and then put that there and voila, right? So you create your nice little movie thing and a list of movies. Maybe you want to do that with books that you're interested in reading. You can create yourself a database for that, right? So this is a very cool, useful things you can do. Also, look, if you right click on this table and hit duplicate, it'll duplicate that table. Why I do that a lot of times is I like the same properties there I might like, but also I can just duplicate this page and change it to gallery, right? Rename this gallery, just like that. And then I can go in here and change some stuff around. Maybe I don't want to show the page content. Maybe I want to show the page cover if I had a cover on there, but I don't. Maybe I'm just going to hit none. Maybe I want to actually create another one, and maybe I want to make that a calendar. Look at this. And we change that to calendar. And now, as you see, I've got a nice little calendar here. So if I have maybe I want to watch Battlestar Galactica on the 13th, I can see it in a bird's eye view on the calendar where it's at. So these are all the cool databases that you can create inside of Notion. And like I say, this is a basic tutorial, but I did want to kind of show you briefly on how to create databases. There's a lot more over here in the three dot functions here. Like I say, you can also do sorts, and a lot of times I like to sort it by title. Okay. And whenever it does this, it'll be title ascending. You can also do it descending if you want, but I usually choose ascending. Your filters, like I say, I got it set for status as not complete. Alright, and then of course you got group functions, which we'll handle that in another episode. Sub-items, dependencies, load limits. A lot of times you might have a lot of data on this page, and maybe you want to limit how many items load at once, because it can kind of bog down your system if you don't have a lot of RAM. So that is basically creating a database in a nutshell. And like always, if you like this episode, please click the like button right down below. And if you want to see more of these episodes in the near future, make sure you subscribe to my channel. And with that being said, I want to wish you all a wonderful week, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Take care.